Yeah. Sir, we do believe that he suffers outright from delusions of grandeur. I mean, such unrealistic assumptions and assertions about saving hip-hop, they seem to serve some sort of internal need for him to feel accepted. What we're recommending is at least 1 year of intensive therapy to get to the bottom of his thought process and hopefully cleanse him of these impurities.
Off the road, what up? Second round, what up? Bottle MC versus all versus you. MTV, what up? Bottle M in the cut. Hip-hop needs a savior, and now the terrorists got. Now can you track this track? List the fact is we building the beast, so we's the beast masters. Freaking the seat in linguistics, read accents with asterisks and optimist beats, cause he's master.
Joe, the shirt is off the cuff. Oh yeah. Welcome back. Oh yes. Welcome back. Oh my god, it's been far too fucking long. Oh my fucking god. I know what you're thinking. Joe the shirt, what the fuck? Where have you been? What's been going on? Or you just completely forgot all about me and haven't given me a second thought. That's also quite possible. I accept that. I'm good with that. I truly am. Okay, there is lots to talk about. It's been, like 3.5 months since I've done a show. You're probably wondering, it's like, well, what the fuck, man? It's like, were you in jail? Were you in rehab? Which, of course, is usually what most people go off and think about when they think of me, not, disappearing for 3.5 months. Were you on the run from the law? And truth of the matter is, it's taken me this long to wrap my head around what happened. It's nothing tragic, nothing horrible. Nobody died, okay? Nobody, don't start sending out any condolence letters or cards or flowers or any shit like that. I'm alive, I am well. It's just it took me this long to come to terms with what had happened, all right? And like I said, nothing tragic, really, but just something that affected me. You ever have something in your life happen that, when you really look back at it, it's not like the worst thing in the world that's ever fucking happened, but it affected you in such a way that you can't handle it at the time, all right? I wasn't institutionalized, okay? Just to let you all know, I didn't go off the deep end, and just, locked up in a jacket, giggling at myself. I do that every night. I don't need to go to a hospital for that. No, it's a very simple story, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about out there going on right now in the world that I do want to talk about, but for right now, I need to get this off my chest, and hopefully we can move on from there. And I do thank all of you that emailed me and Facebooked me, and were worried about me and asking about me, and I appreciate that, and I thank you for that. No, it's really a lot simpler than you might think, but like I said, it may not sound like a big deal to other people, but to me, it was a big deal at the time. Back in July, the Russian and I were supposed to take a trip to Miami, Florida. Well, actually, to be exact, West Palm Beach, Florida, visit my mother. I hadn't seen her in quite a few years, and I've been wanting to see her, and we were very excited about the project. We really were. We were all up for it, because we talked about it in, I think, April of this year. We talked about it in April because I hadn't seen my mother, like I said, in several years, and we decided, hey, you know what? Let's make a plan to go visit my mom. And the Russian was on board. She's like, yeah, let's go visit your mom. I love your mom, And so we bought the tickets. We rented the car. We rented a hotel room because when I go visit my mother, I need my own car and my own hotel room because, as I've said before, there's vacation and then there's visiting family. They're two very different things, okay? So we made all these plans, and I called my mother and I called all my sisters, and they were all going to be there, and my mom had prepared my favorite food, which is, surprisingly enough, lasagna. And, and we had plans. It was my mother's birthday, and so we were pumped, man. We were ready for it, And, or was this June? I'm trying to remember. I think July, late June, early July. Anyway, So we prepared. We hired a dog sitter. We hired a car. To take us to the airport. All that shit. We were ready. And then the day of the trip, your pal Joe, the shirt, got wasted. And I'm talking wasted. I was on a different planet altogether. All right. I mean, I was fuck 3 sheets to the wind, make it like 6, 9, 12, 15 sheets to the wind. I was gone. All right. And, I mean, so far gone that by the time the driver was here to pick us up, I wasn't packed and naked on the floor. That's where I was. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, well, what about the Russian? What happened to her? Well, the Russian had her own deal going on. She was trying to deal with me, but at the same time, dealing with her own shit. And that's not something I'm going to get into because that's her own private shit to talk about if she ever wants to. But she wasn't able to handle me that day. Okay? I was gone. All right? It was just like, like basically, like in the cartoons, you could open up my eyes and it's just like, nobody's home, that kind of deal. And needless to say, we didn't make the car, we didn't make the flight, and we didn't make it to Miami. And then I continued my binge drinking for several days after that. So much, and also, this is another little wrinkle in the story here. I also, I didn't call my mother or any of my sisters to let them know we had missed the flight, and that we would try to make other arrangements or whatever, and so that they wouldn't worry. I didn't do any of that because, well, I felt something that I haven't felt in a lot of years, and that was shame. I have not felt shame in longer than I can fucking remember, okay? Shame is not one of my problems, okay? I can feel embarrassed, I might feel remorse, I might feel sorry, but shame is not something I do, okay? And I was just completely ashamed of myself, because for the first time in my life, believe it or not, as much as you know that I like to drink, and we all know I like my drink, as much as I drink, I have never allowed drinking to impede me from doing something that I really wanted to do. Okay? If I miss going to the movies, big fucking deal. If I miss going to a friend's house for a birthday party, not a big fucking deal. Because odds I probably didn't want to go to the stupid ass party anyway. But this was the first time in my life that something that I had planned, spent money on, took time out of my day, out of my week, out of my life to put together, that I was too fucked up to do it. That was the first time ever in my life. And what really bothered me about it is that it was, in fact, a plans that I had made to see my mother. And mind you, I understand that we are all accustomed to disappointing our parents. It's just something that children do. And the other way around, parents disappoint children all the time. If you don't believe me, ask any kid that's ever gotten socks and underwear for Christmas. You'll know what I'm talking about. But, and I've disappointed my mother many, many times before, believe you me. I'm not an elder of the Jehovah's Witness Church. Woo! Darn. This was the first time in my life that there was something that I wanted to do with and for my mother that I failed to do, not because I didn't feel like it, not because, extenuating circumstances, but because I was too drunk to do it, and then I wasn't man enough to call her and let her know what happened, instead I went further down that rabbit hole and just sunk myself into this world of self-pity and shame and embarrassment, and I couldn't bring myself out of it. We're talking about quite the fucking bender, all right? And I mean, it got so bad, like I said, that, I didn't call her for so long that eventually one of my sisters called the LAPD to come over to the house and check on us. Because, like I said, we didn't call my mother, my sisters. We didn't call the airline. We didn't call the hotel, the rental car place. We didn't do shit. All I did was sit here and drink my silly ass off. That's what I did. It was like something out of a... and I'm forgetting the reference, but you get the idea. It was just one of those things where I disappeared. I really did. I really disappeared. Though I got to tell you, the deputy from the LAPD, he was very nice. Though he was very understanding. I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm just jacked up. That's all. I'm surprised I was like aware enough to answer the door while wearing clothes to talk to this human being. And honestly, that's what it boiled down to, you guys. I was truly, thoroughly, 100% embarrassed, and I couldn't deal with my mother or my sisters. They finally, after like 5-6 days, I texted my mother and my sisters, let them know, hey, look, I'm alive, I'm okay. Please don't send the police over to my house anymore, And oh my God, hold on, I was like. Because I don't like addict behavior. I really don't. I don't like dealing with addicts, junkies. I don't like those people. And then for the first time in my life, I felt like one. I mean, I've been a heavy drinker for quite a few years now. I think it started right around the time of my divorce. I don't know if there's a correlation between those two things. The other thing that really bothered me about that particular time period is that by the time I decided to bring myself out of this haze, I realized I looked and smelled like my stepfather, who I despise, who I hate. And because that alcohol breath that somebody that's been drinking all night has, or that's been drinking all week has, you know who I'm talking about, where you walk up to them and you can smell them from 6 feet away, and they got that look in their eye, that glassy, fucked up look in their eye, and they've got like way too much beard growth, and their face is like beet red and shit, and that's what I look like. And I'm looking at this person in the mirror, and all I can see is my stepfather. The man that was just an abusive, violent alcoholic that took out his anger at the fact that he didn't make shit out of his life out on me, my mother, and my sisters. And I'm looking in the mirror, and that's who I'm seeing. And then I was just angry. For days, I was just angry. And I hated myself even more, And that's another thing I don't do. I don't typically hate myself. I typically like myself very, very, very much, Like I said, I don't hate myself, and I'm not normally ashamed of myself. And I've done some things that lots of people would be ashamed of. Let me tell you that right now. I've done the kind of things that most people go to confession for, all right? So I've done some things that I'm never telling anybody about. I'm talking not the Russian, not my mother, not you guys. I'm talking there's shit I have done that I'm taking to my grave. I'm talking like there's like a guy having sex with a Great Dane right now that could hear some of the things that I've done and start saying out loud, "Wow, you're really fucked up, man. You have issues." But before we get on to any more of this, we're going to take a little break. Our music today is brought to you by Vital MC. You heard his first song, Off With Their Heads. Here's the second song, Whiplash. We'll be right back. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I've been off the cuff so far.
Pressure whip. Pressure whip. Live and direct, worldwide, you don't want it. We rollin' like that Daytona 500. So we keep dead sober, hella drunk, I'm mad running. Turn the music loud, rack the phone and rack the pressure. Well, oh my God, here we go again, and it's Vital MC coming, shredding up the sediment. Revving up, engines up like mud. And just for the record, LD's on the cut. And if you haven't figured out the style by now, you can tell the sound gotta go and make the mic loud. I got that octane, 1,000 miles per hour, so bang it on the edge until your back cramps out. We got that whiplash, dropping whip fast. Come see the scene if the cops is dispatched. It's that whiplash, yeah, that whiplash. The kind of rush to keep you hungry to get cash. We got that whiplash, dropping whip fast. Come see the scene if the cops is dispatched. It's that whiplash.
Joe the Shirt's off the cuff, and he's back. All right, so good to be back. So good. Okay, we were talking about what happened to Joe the Shirt, who hasn't been off the cuff for about 3.5 months. So I've already told you about the bender I went on and the issues I had with my mother and my stepfather and my sisters and the LAPD. And and also with my friends, you know, people that would call or email me or text me and I wouldn't respond to anybody, you know. Not the proudest moments of my life, let me tell you that right now, as any good alcoholic can tell you. So, like I said, I was very, very angry with myself, and like I said, very ashamed of myself. Not something I normally do, like almost, like never, you know. But when I finally started to come out of it, and I about a day into being sober for the first time in God knows how long, maybe second day I think, because the first day is always pain. When you come off you ever have a hangover and you just feel like shit? When you come off a bender like the one I was on, you feel pain. Lots and lots of pain. We're talking the whole deal. We're talking the vomiting and the physical pain and then just this feeling that there's something wrong with your body, and then the night sweats, and then the dehydration and the weight loss, which actually, you know, I gotta tell you, I looked good because I lost like 11, 12 pounds. I looked, you know, from like the neck down, I looked great. But it wasn't a healthy type of weight loss. It was almost all water weight loss, which is very, very unhealthy, not good for you. You know, when your pee comes out like, you know, like as if somebody mixed up glue and Tang, it's not a good thing. Let me tell you that right now. And then I finally, inevitably, had to call my mother. And I think I was in the conversation for maybe 20 seconds before I just broke down and cried like a baby. I did. I just cried like a fucking baby. You know, here I am talking to my mother, and I'm telling her what happened. I wasn't leaving shit out. You know, I was letting her know. I've told her everything I've told you guys. You know, maybe with the language not being quite as colorful, because it is my mother after all. But, you know, she, in the absolute perfect mother mode that she was in, you know, because she understands her baby boy better than most, she forgave me immediately. She was like, it's not the end of the world, boy. You didn't kill anybody. You didn't hurt yourself, right? And I was like, well, not in the traditional sense, no. And, you can always visit me another time. You know, I'm always happy to see you. I just want to be able to see you and talk to you. And if there's anything wrong, you can always call me and let me know what's happening. You know, you don't have to be ashamed. You know, we all make mistakes. We've all done things we're not proud of. You know, and it's not the end of the world, you know, and I love you, and I want you to be able to talk to me, and, you know, and that just made it worse. I start to cry even more, and, God, it was so fucking painful, but so cathartic, because I just started to release all over the phone with my mom, and, anytime in my life when I was in real bad kind of way, my mother's always just been able to find that way to just make it feel okay. You know, I mean, it's like basically, you know, I scrape my knee, mommy kisses it and makes it feel better. Mwah, you know, that's what she did. You know, that's what she did. You know, and she forgave me. And she was happy that I called and asked if the Russian was okay, you know, and, not to worry about it. We'll see you next time. Maybe you'll come by when one of your other sisters is visiting, and and I told her about the whole stepfather thing, and she's like, because my stepfather truly taught me how to hate. That's where I learned how to hate, was from my stepfather. The shit he pulled on me, my mom, my sisters, that's where I learned how to hate, And my mother, she told me that, you have to let go of that hate. She said you have to forgive him, not for him, but for you, so that you can let go of it. And well, I'm not doing that. I'm not letting go of that hate anytime soon. I'm not ready to. I still hate the man. I hope he dies. Slow, painful death. And I'm going to go to the funeral just so I can piss on his grave. But that aside, it's good advice in general. It truly is. But it's not advice I'm ready to take right now. But yeah, she was great. My mother's one of those people, and not just coming from me as her son, but she's one of those people that people genuinely love being around. They always feel better around her. She always makes them feel better. She's a very helpful, loving, giving person. It makes you wonder how she gave birth to me some days, But she did it, and I felt better immediately. What they say, it feels like there was a ton of bricks taken off your chest. That's what it felt like. I talked to mommy, and mommy kissed it and made it feel better, and it was just one of the best, most pathetic feelings I've ever had in my life. I felt pathetic, I really did, because it felt so good. It felt so good to know that she loved me and forgave me anyway, and like I said, so much of it bothered me on so many different levels. Can't get into all of it here because you guys aren't my psychiatrist. Well, in a way you are, I suppose. But yeah, she was there for me. Talked to my sisters on the phone a couple of days later. They were their typical selves. It was like, oh, what's up with you, asshole? What the fuck happened? Oh, God, that's stupid. Well, you should have just called us, And it was just their way of saying, hey, it's not that big a deal. It's okay. You could have just called us instead of worrying us to death. That was worse for them, because that's why they called the cops. And then I stewed in it for a while, and I wasn't ready to come back and talk to you guys about it. I went, what I did after that is I continued with life. I went to work and I did my usual stuff. Me and the Russian, took like fucking month off of drinking. Oh, I'm still drinking. Don't worry about that, you guys. I'm not ready to give up that either, but with some personal limits that I'm trying to impose on myself, which it isn't easy. But and then the Russian and I made plans again to go visit my mother, and this was for, I want to say early October. Yeah, we went. We actually went, and the great part is we didn't lose any money on the deal because my girlfriend, the Russian, she's one of these people that's smart enough. She always makes sure that we get travel insurance, and in the 12 years that she and I have been traveling together, this is the first time we've ever needed it. But thank God we had it, because it was a pricey trip, let me tell you, But, and we didn't lose any money on the trip. We got the exact same flight, the exact same time of day. We booked the exact same hotel, got a car, everything was fine. We were drop dead sober when we got on that plane and had been for about a good 3 weeks before that. We'd not had a drop of anything because we wanted to make sure there's no fucking way in the world we're missing this trip. And I called my sisters and let them know about it, but I asked them not to tell my mother because we wanted to surprise her. So then we got a Uber to the airport. We got to the airport. We got on our plane. We checked our bags. We got on the plane. We flew. We landed. We got our rental car, and then I drove the 45 minutes from Fort Lauderdale to West Palm Beach. We got there, and we surprised my mom. And it was great. And I was ecstatic to see her. And the very first thing my mother does after giving me a big hug and a kiss and her big, ridiculous clown smile that she has, very first thing she did, of course, was offer me arroz con pollo. Which is what a Puerto Rican mother should do, isn't it? It's like their fucking job. Your kid comes to visit, and he's Puerto Rican, you give him arroz con pollo. That's what you do. And it was great. We spent about a week there. I got to meet my newest niece, Mia. Cutie, little tiny cutie. She loved her. So she had these big-ass fat cheeks. Couldn't stop kissing her. I got to see my nephew, Damien, who is this big, smelly human being, as you know, most 15-year-old boys tend to be. He's a football player, plays for his high school team, first string, which is nice. And I went to one of his games and was bored to tears because his team sucked and they got their asses handed to them. But it was nice. It was fun to see. It was good to see. It was good to be there. And we went to the beach and we went to dinner a couple of times. And my sister Jessica, she wanted to go out clubbing the very day that we got there. And we were just like, we could barely stand, by the end of that day, because we gotten there at like 5 a.m. And then we spent the whole day with my mother and my niece and my sisters. And then we went to go visit some other people. And then like around, 9, 10 o'clock at night, she's like, okay, we're going out clubbing. I'm like, you're going out clubbing. We're going to our hotel room. But yeah. And and like I said, we spent about a week there. We just had a grand old time. It was very simple, nothing fancy. I ate good old-fashioned mommy food. We hung out. We visited my other sister in South Miami. That's my sister Yamila and her gigantic husband Shane. When I say gigantic, I'm talking like 6'5" and about 315 pounds. Okay, we're talking about a big dude here. And I got to see my other niece Shania. And, it was just great to do, and another niece I have, Ivani, that was also a lot of fun. She's like that weird, she's like 10 years old now. She's at that age where it's really, really easy to embarrass her, which is always a lot of fun. Which is exactly what I did when we went to, I think, a Peruvian restaurant, and there was this guy there who was singing, and I made her dance with me, and she spent the entire time trying to pull away. but we made it, And I not like I said it to her, but, I felt like, to use the alcoholic term, I was making amends to her. Not that she needed it. Not that she needed my apology again. But I was just happy that we were there. And you know what? While we were there, yeah, I had a few drinks. Yes, I did. Every day that I was there, I had a few drinks. But you know what? I was never out of control. I didn't drink and drive. I got a shave while I was there, which I haven't had a professional shave in a long time. It was just nice. And then we took a flight. We drove back to Fort Lauderdale. We took a flight back. We took a ride, home, and there it is. We made it. And now I'm telling you guys about it, and now to tell you why it took so long to tell you about it. But we'll do that right after our next break. Now, our last song was Whiplash by Vital MC. Coming up next, we have Put Down That Gun. Joe the Shirt's off the cuff, and he'll be right back.
Gangsters, I see they fake. Send me automatic spray. I see they fake.
Say the president got one, the cops they got one, our favorite rapper got one. You need to put down that gun. You need to put down that gun. And then the kids say the president got one, my teacher got one, my favorite rap star got one. Put down that gun. You need to put down that gun. Bang.
Yo, I've seen them preachers in pulpits, heard rappers with full clips who pull quick and teach your kids to believe in this bull-ish. The heart of the city beats for these thieves and these culprits, while their leaders run around for their facetious indulgence. It's a vicious cycle, I just sit through it and observe. Like a Bob Doppler scanning from helicopters. I'm in Mossbergs, 45s or 22s. Ain't got no kind of clue, monkey see, monkey do. But monkey what, monkey who? I heard you put the brand on pulling triggers, but who's the one that's the
Show the Shirts off the cuff. All right, we are back. This will be our last segment for today. Again, I keep saying we, like I have this gigantic studio filled with people, and I'm not actually just at my dining room table. But, excuse me. Excuse me. Any case, okay, now we're at the final part here. Now you're wondering, okay, but hold on a second. All of it, you came back from your trip with visiting your mom. That was, back in early October, right? And I'm like, yeah. And so it's like mid-November. What's going on, man? And what's going on, man, is, the reason why it took me this long to get to telling you guys all about this. And the reason is you guys. You guys. This is the reason the reason I haven't done a show is because of you guys. And the reason because of that is because, well, I was still feeling no longer shame, but embarrassed. You ever have something happen in your life, that is like completely embarrassing, you are mortified by it, and then like sometime later you talk about it as if, hey, no big fucking deal, right? Whatever. Oh, this is one of those things. Like the best example I have of this is the one time that I went to Taco Bell and then on the ride home I shit my pants. And I'm talking like big time shit my pants. Okay, I'm talking like I'm driving the car and I can feel this forces of nature pummeling its way through my intestines, and I am holding onto that steering wheel. I think I bent the steering wheel, and I would have like jammed it all the way home, but there was a cop car right behind me, and at some point I just had to let go. I had to let go of that little piece of my dignity right there and then. At the time, I was still married, and I drove home, and I parked in fortunately, it was a covered parking underneath the building, and that's where I proceeded to take off my pants and wipe my butt with my shirt while still in the car, wrap it all up, and then wrap my jacket around my waist, make a dash to my apartment on the first floor from the underground parking. Yeah, that's right. That's what happened to me. And at the day that it happened. And then I went into the shower and cleaned myself off and cried a little bit. And then, and when I told my ex-wife about it, I told her, we don't tell anybody about this ever. And now I freely tell people about it all the time, including you guys, whatever, because, it was one of those things like, it happened, But at the time, it was just so embarrassing, so mortifying. It was just one of those things that you're just like, I cannot believe that happened. And now, to me, it's just a funny story, And even though I felt better with my mom after coming back from our trip, I wasn't ready to tell you guys about it because I was still feeling embarrassed about it, Another thing that doesn't happen too often is me caring about other people's opinions about me. So for something to make me not want to tell people things that has happened to me, it's got to be something that's affected me on some really big level. And this did, And after a point, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want people to think less of me. And I'm thinking to myself, how could they possibly think less of you, Joe? Come on, shirt. How could they possibly think less of you? They listen to your show. They know what you do. They know what kind of person you are. You're no saint. Which is why, when anybody asks me if I think of myself as a good person, I always tell them, well, no. I just don't think of myself as a bad person either. And while I may have not done anything that I should be ashamed of, I certainly didn't do anything that I should be proud of, So it's not one of those things that you immediately want to share after it happens, Like when when one of my sisters, when she got pregnant at 17. Okay, yeah, now she's happy, she loves her kid, but at the time that it was happening, the time that she was first pregnant, she wasn't telling anybody but me, because she was ashamed. She was embarrassed at the time. So, I wasn't ready to tell you guys, even though it's now a little over a month since I came back from the trip, to my mother's place. But today was the day, I think. And I think, in large part, you can thank the Russian for that, because I was going to go to work today, and the Russian tells me, we spent a lot of time together. You haven't had time in the house to yourself. If you want to, why don't you take some time to just run whatever errands you need to run, put the house together the way you need to put it together, put yourself together. And she said, do a show. The Russian told me, do a show, because the Russian knows my psyche pretty damn well, okay? She knows me pretty damn well, and she knows when I'm hurting, even when it doesn't look like I'm hurting. And I was hurting because I wasn't talking to you guys. I was hurting because I wasn't expressing myself to anybody else but her for the last 3.5 months. And there's a reason that she doesn't listen to my show, and that's because she gets the live version every fucking day. And she's told me more than enough times she can't be the only one that I express myself to, because I will make her crazy. She loves me, she adores me, but she can't take my shit all the time. I don't think anybody could. But and God bless her. Not that I believe in God, but God bless her. She encouraged me to do this today. She told me to get on the air. She had no idea what I was going to talk about. I knew what I was going to talk about. I've known what I was going to talk about since July, when this all started. When I did my next show, I knew exactly what I was going to talk about. But I guess I didn't feel the story was quite done yet. And today I felt that it was. And today I felt I was ready to talk to you guys, and I'm sorry that I've been gone for so long. I know, like I said, it's not like you're all pining away by the computer waiting for me to say anything, but I wasn't ready, but I still wanted to express myself to you guys, because believe it or not, this show is one of the things in my life that helps to keep me sane. And I was starting to feel myself slipping a little bit into becoming this person that I didn't really like to be. And, and now hopefully I'm back, and, the next time you hear from me, we can leave all this mamby-pamby, wishy-washy, baby, crybaby shit behind us and move on to the issues of the world around us. So, quick apologies to my mom, my sisters, the Russian, and like I said, you guys, and a little apology to myself, actually, because that's one of those things that you need to do. I think a lot of these when these things happen, you got to forgive yourself, apologize to yourself, and then forgive yourself. It's like Mom said, nobody's perfect, and we're all gonna fuck up. And you're going to need somebody to forgive you, and you might as well, start with you, I suppose. Anything else that I wanted to get off my chest? Other than that, just the regular stuff that's been going on in life. I did, in fact, celebrate my birthday this year. I turned 45 years old on September 10th. And I did not do a September 10th show. Don't ask me. I celebrated. I did something different this year for Halloween. My girlfriend and I, the Russian, we had over her sister-in-law and her 2 nieces, her grandniece, and her, I guess you would say, her one of her niece's husbands. He came. They all came over. And we all got dressed up for Halloween, and I'm going to be posting pictures for you guys to check out. You can see my costume and everybody else's costumes. And that was a lot of fun. And then coming up, next week, Thanksgiving, the day we all give thanks to the Indians for dying so easily. I know it's an old joke, but I love to use it. And this year, again, we're doing it differently. This year, we're going to be going to the Russian's sister-in-law's place. Well, we'll be having Thanksgiving there, and my buddy Craigers is going to be joining us. You may remember Craig, violent criminal that he is, a very good friend of mine. We call him the Rye Tie. He'll be joining us, and it's funny. My the Russian has told her sister-in-law a few stories about my buddy Kreger's, and she invites him, and she's like, "Are you sure you want to invite him?" And the sister-in-law goes, "Well, what's the worst that can happen? He's going to kill me?" And I'm thinking, no, the worst that can happen is that he fucks your daughter and gets into a violent altercation with the father. That's the worst that could happen. But we doubt that. We seriously doubt that. So those are our Thanksgiving plans. And once again, I will try to redouble my efforts to get back to this. And also, I've got a new computer finally, so we'll be able to hopefully get some new features on the show. The platform that I'm working with is now working together with Skype, and hopefully we'll finally be able to get some calls in here. Who knows? I know I've made that promise before, but or I've hinted at it. So hopefully we'll get that going as well. And I give a big shout out to you guys out there. Really, if you come back and start listening to me again, I would love it. It makes me feel. It gives me even more comfort to know that I'm not just spouting off into thin air. That you guys are out there and you're listening, and I appreciate that. And the next show, we got issues. We got so much to talk about, so much fun stuff, so much scary stuff. So much ridiculous shit going on. It's an election year, and next year it's going to be the presidential elections, and we got bombings all over the planet, and we got people, chopping up their kids and putting them in freezers, and we've got animals, eating people, and it's just a lot of fun shit that I want to get off my chest and get it out there to you guys. So, Our last song of the day from Vital MC is called Doomsday 101. With much love from your pal, Joe the Shirt, I've been off the cuff. Thanks a lot, guys.
And so, is this the end? The culmination of all of our yesterdays? A permanent break to the age of the wheel? We asked for judgment. Well, here it is. Summed up in the fears of a long-ago mathematical equation. Fact, within the next 2 hours and 17 somewhat minutes, humankind may become the unwelcome memories of a merciless God. Where will you be when the hands of time test their ultimate fate?
So it goes, and so it was, and so it's been. And so it passes, hourglass is frozen. It's still written by the elders for warning those who cannot learn. And preludes and nocturnes, so I've been chosen in the ancient skies to take the sex in this where they never been. Like a fallen cherubim, bringing the terror in. Booming systems tuning in the pirate frequencies. Terror burning seas, reverse polarities, west and east. Rest in peace to the western seas. In the eastern skies, been in jeopardy. Terror is a threat in threes. So the mission's to mash past the prophecy. Yeah, dance beyond the schema, man's monopoly. Trust, you ain't seen crunk before this. 33 and 1/3 orbits. The calm before the storm hits. Live performance, and we touring with the 4 horsemen's endorsements. We marching through the Sudan, you do. Feel the earth shake and vacate the fool.